I'll have to be honest with you. First thing I'm going to mention right up front is it's free. I like the service when it's free because, you know, you can tie up a lot of money in different services, and from experience I found out that sometimes you can pay a lot of money and you may not be getting that much out of it.
Good afternoon, welcome to GrainTV. It's October 3rd, 2013. I'm Logan Burgess. To my right here is Cody Bills to help break down the action that we saw here on a Thursday in the grain complex. Let's jump into fire tip and see where the grains closed. Certainly a day where we did find some strength in soybeans in particular. Corn, though, trading up just a quarter of a penny on the day. Soybeans, as I said, up 14.5 cents for November. Chicago wheat up 3, Kansas City wheat up just a penny. I know today's Thursday, Cody. We typically get those export sales report. With the government shut down, though, we didn't get those. Kind of what was the trade expecting, though?
Well, you know, right now we got the expectations in there. Wheat between 500, 700,000 metric tons. Corn expectations between 500 and 700,000 metric tons. And soybeans between 800 and 11 or 1.1 billion metric tons. The bottom line here is that we're not going to be seeing these export sales really maybe for the next week or even 2 weeks. And I think it's kind of introduce an interesting aspect to this market. Will there be a country or countries out there that take advantage of this lack of transparency? I mean, you have reportable sales. You know, typically, if you make a sale over 100,000 metric tons, you have to report it to the USDA. And now, you know, you can report it, but no one's there to take that down. Is there a possibility that maybe they take advantage of that? Maybe they book more sales now since it's not going to move the market?
Yeah, you know, that certainly is a possibility, especially given the price rundown that we've had here in the last couple of weeks, really after the September WASDE report. And, you know, in general, Cody, I do think, though, that a bullish surprise, you know, at some point we are going to get this information, and it might all come through at one point once things are back online. And it does seem like at that point that a bullish surprise would have a little bit more potency for corn and soybeans just because of the price action that I mentioned that we've seen over the last couple weeks. It's been extremely oversold technically here coming into Wednesday's trade in particular. Let's take a look here at the soybean chart, and you can see that we are finding a little bit of strength here. But I think this is the time where people are going to be looking for demand-side indicators to come in and support this market. And as you said, there's not a lot of transparency in this market. So it might be a good time to do so if you're a big buyer. Bottom line, I guess I wouldn't be surprised if we had kind of a choppy trade here moving forward for soybeans. Certainly we know it's technically oversold, and I think this rally could extend here up towards 13.
You know, I guess one thing I'm looking at here is soybeans really stood out today. Up 14 cents relative to corn, which was mostly unchanged, and wheat, which only had a very small gain. You know, is this soybeans move, is this fundamental? Do you think this is a fundamental shift, or do you think this is just technical buyback?
You know, it seems technically at this point. Obviously, you know, we didn't have a lot of fundamentals today to talk about or chew over, and as I said, I mean, the fundamentals got us to where we are now. With the September 1st quarterly grain stocks report in particular. So it seems like a technical bounce back at this point. I think in general the trend still seems to be bearish, but we might see a good little rally here in what might be a longer bear trend.
Well, one thing to note here is that when we do take a look at wheat, we'll notice that we were able to take out the highs that we printed just a week or so ago. One thing to take a look at here is that the last 60 minutes of trade we really started to sell off. One of the things that was driving the wheat trade earlier on in the morning is just there was a freeze threat in the eastern part of Australia, and I think that really contributes to that bullish story which we've been observing. That was really, you know, the backbone of that bullish story is the export sales that we've been booking to China and to Brazil, which are very atypical for those particular countries. You know, we're about halfway. We met about half the USDA forecast already, and we're only 4 months into this thing. So the bottom line here is it seems as though wheat continues to have a bullish story, and some of this weather in the southern hemisphere is driving the trade a little bit higher here this morning, but unfortunately it looks as though we took a little bit off in the last hour.
Yeah, certainly. We'll have to see what continues here on Friday in the grain market. We'll be back tomorrow to wrap up all the action that we saw this week and break down cash market changes. Certainly it'll be an interesting week for the cash market. Now we know elevators aren't reporting that September bid. We'll have to see how that October new crop bid has been kind of changing here as we've entered the month of October. We'll keep you posted on that, as I said, on tomorrow's GrainTV. Thanks a lot for joining us here, though, on a Thursday that found a little bit of strength for soybeans in particular. We'll see if it continues tomorrow.